All right. Hello, Karen.
Hi, Yoli. So good to see you.
Same here. Yes. This is Karen Farrell, and she is one of my guest speakers for this summit and Health and Abundance Revolution Summit. Actually, she's my second interviewer, interview, interviewee, right? Yeah, you
Right.
have so much to share with the listeners, and I'm excited about interviewing you. So, yeah. So, Karen, please let us know, tell us what you want, the viewers to know about you. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, Yoli, thanks for having me. This is so exciting to be a part of a amazing group of women and maybe men that are joining too that
Right?
want to know about health and wellness and all of these wild issues that face us in these really unprecedented times right now.
I know.
So I have a little bit of a unique perspective, but I know my story isn't very different than a lot of people on this planet. My brother was diagnosed with cancer at 9 years old, and I was three when this happened. So, needless to say, I grew up really wondering why people were not well and wanting to know why um, we had to face so much suffering.
Hmm.
And when I was 13, so 10 years later, the gene for that cancer was discovered, and my brother doesn't have it, and I don't have it, and my family doesn't have it. So it was ruled environmentally caused. And so as a 13-year-old woman, I thought, well, then why don't we have clean air, good food, and clean water? And that was
Exactly.
a big thing for me and
Hmm.
became really the basis of my entire life.
Hmm.
I started cooking my own food and studying natural herbs and medicines at that age.
Wow.
And then, some of my first jobs were in health food stores. I started studying women's health from a natural perspective and went to midwifery school. I worked for a home birth midwife for 5 years, and she and I took two foreign aid trips, one to Haiti, which
Yes.
I keep meaning to send you these photographs. I have to do that.
I'd
Uh,
love to see them. And
yeah.
you know as well that I'm from Haiti.
Yes, I
So
love
yeah,
Haiti.
that's
I
oh my
love
God.
Haiti. I have so much love for Haiti in my
Oh,
heart. And then I also, prior to that, I went to Indonesia after the tsunami. So Haiti, I was there right after the earthquake, and Indonesia right after the tsunami, and got to work with some of the most beautiful women I have ever seen in my life, in the
wow.
most wonderful time of their life, delivering a baby, but in both circumstances under a lot of duress and crisis.
Mm,
um, so trying to create sort of an umbrella around them to have a wonderful birth in the midst of
right.
all that, and understanding the inequities that we have in our world, with healthcare and access to food, access to clean water. Um, and all along that, during that time, I also have worked for many years in the health food industry. So midwifery is a passion, and I have a background in midwifery, but for my career, I stayed very true to natural and organic medicines, and I work for the last 25 years in health food stores and health food industry with Whole Foods Market, bringing brands to market, natural, organic, clean body care and supplements. So
What a
that
busy life.
yeah, I have two boys, both born at home. One was a really long, terrible, horrible labor, and we ended up transferring to the hospital when he was born because it wasn't so perfect. And then I had my
That
second,
happens.
yeah, and then I had my second one in 26 minutes in my midwife's bathroom, and it was like, all right, what else do we do today? Great.
Wow.
So that's who I am, and I also really love or medicinal plants. And so the one other thing that I do is I am trying to repopulate this land that I own in Maine with native um, endangered medicinal herbs. So one other passion that I have is, as more people use natural and organic medicine, which is, you know, this sort of native medicine that we all of our bodies know very well,
Oh,
since
yes.
we are also from nature. We can't forget
Right.
that. And science and nature work hand in hand together. Um, there is a lot of harvesting of these plants, and some plants have gone extinct and some are close. You know, plants are dealing with the same thing that the animal kingdom is dealing
Right.
with the brink of extinction and the loss of habitats. And as we build more and more strip malls, you know, there's no plant place for those plants. So that's
No,
another thing that I
that's
love. But
another issue.
yeah, I think one of the things that inspired me in my life is Oprah. Oprah Winfrey said one time, and I know she's an inspiration to many people.
Yes,
She
she is.
said that she couldn't believe, yeah, she couldn't believe that people were paying her to talk, and that was like her favorite thing to do. And I would say to everyone listening, I have been able to have abundance in my life
Hmm.
because I have just followed my passion and the things I believe in.
Right.
And I would say to do the same thing, that if you are really passionate about children, you will be most successful working with children. And if you
Right.
are really passionate about books, then you're going to be most successful in your life being passionate about that. And I think the happiest people and some of the healthiest people are those that find a way to make a living out of the things that they are passionate about, that make them happy.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. Yes. Just follow your heart, just, the path that you were meant to be on. Just do it.
Yeah. And I
Whatever,
know,
whatever that makes your heart jump and joyful, just do it. Yes.
yeah. And Yoli, I know that's why you're doing these seminars and
Yes.
these talks, because that is your passion.
That is my passion.
And you know, you seem like the person that's really going to connect a lot of people and keep that vibe and spirit really high.
Yes, I've been making great connections during this summit because everyone that knows me knows how passionate I am about health, just health and well-being, self-care.
Yeah.
It's a big thing for me. It's my passion, as well as natural healing for the body, being a herbalist and
Yeah.
plant medicine. Yes, I love
Yes.
it.
Well, you know, you bring up a great point when you say self-care, because
Hmm.
that is such a buzzword, but it really has so much truth in it.
Hmm.
And there's a reason why. You know, we live in a capitalist society in the United States. And so, you know, there's a lot of great things about that because we have a lot of freedom and we have free commerce and we can do what we want and we have free speech, and there's a lot of great things that you know, there's a lot of creativity. You know, people open their own restaurants, and you know, we have so much greatness there. But there's
So true.
one thing that doesn't really fit the capitalist box, and that's healthcare.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, what's happened is that in a capitalist model, you need to make money. And in healthcare, we have a lot of really great people whose passion is to see people well and healthy. But we have an insurance industry and a drug industry that only makes profits when people are sick.
Oh,
And
so
so
sad.
we need to figure out a way to reinvent that circle so that doctors make money when their patients are well. Because if we could reinvent that, we would have a whole different system. And let me talk about why. When the, when politics gets involved, what you have is you have senators and congresswomen and congressmen on both sides of the aisle, both Democrats and Republicans, that take in a lot of money from lobbyists. And there's lobbyists for drug companies, and there's lobbyists for gun companies, and there's lobbyists for, major corporations. But there's no lobbyist for sleeping well at night. And there's no lobbyist.
Good point.
Yeah, there's no lobbyist for drinking the right amount of water during the day. And there's no lobbyist for exercising or taking a walk or sitting on a park bench and just taking a deep breath.
Or eating healthy.
Now I can argue on that one a little bit, because I've made money off of eating healthy, and people like to say, well, vitamin companies make money too, and Whole Foods is making a lot of money. And that is one way in a capitalist society that we get to vote outside of just November and all of that crazy politics that is almost at this point. I mean, as I've gotten older, it just keeps getting more and more insane politics. So I can't imagine what's going to happen in my children's lives. And it just is scary.
It is scary.
We have another way that we vote in this country other than just at the ballot, and that is with our dollars. Every time we buy something, because we are in a capitalist society, we're voting. We're saying, this is the thing I want. So we've all voted for Amazon to win. I mean, it won because we paid for it and we voted it as consumers. We all can change this society fast by what we buy and what we consume. Period.
Yes.
It will change the voting eventually. The more local produce you buy, the more money goes to those people and not to the other people.
Right.
The more exercise you do, the more you breathe clean air and drink great water, the less drugs you need. Well, the less that those people are going to get money. And that is what really ultimately is fueling what we see in the media. What we see is these lobbyists, these advertising and money and this capitalist society. But we control that. We don't really understand or think about it too much. But if everybody started buying organic produce, the other things would go out of business. And, what's unfortunate is there is a disparity in finances, and not everybody thinks that they can afford clean, natural, and organic food. But I think food sovereignty and access to healthy food is going to be one of the biggest issues that we all need to address and face and find solutions for in the coming years. Because if you're a family on a budget, and McDonald's is your option for food because it is so cheap, because it's chemical derived, it's not as derived from natural and organic food.
It's a sad reality.
It's sad, and it puts those people who are on those budgets at a disadvantage health-wise, which puts them in a higher risk state for all those diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. And those are the things that were the comorbidities that caused more COVID deaths.
Yeah.
So, there are people that are genetically predisposed to high blood pressure and genetically predisposed to obesity and genetically predisposed to diabetes. But we have such a high rate of those diseases in our country, not because of genetics, because we have a genetic diversity here in the United States, which should make us, have all kinds of wild and interesting different scenarios. But it's our diet that, is so affects all of those things. And if you look at the numbers for COVID, we have more deaths we don't have more deaths per million. Some others countries do, but we have more deaths just quantity wise than
Mhm.
any country on this planet. And it's sad.
It is. Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
And it's politics and it's money and it's capitalism, and it's all culminating in showing the holes. The holes in the system are so evident right now and so visible. And unfortunately, it's not like holes in a bucket where water flows through. The holes in this system, people flow through that, lives flow through that, and people lose their family, and that creates even more loss and depression and then life-changing events for people have occurred in this last year. It's heavy.
It is.
So
Yeah.
I think we need to care about each other a little more and
Right.
think about
Be more connected with each other. It's so needed.
yeah,
You made a good point earlier, when you mentioned, voting, and people don't think about it, but every day we're voting, whatever decisions we make, like you said, how we spend our money, we're voting,
yep,
and we have to really, be conscious of that,
yeah.
you know.
Could you imagine, which is not possible, but let's just say everybody bought an electric car, just everybody. Like,
Hmm.
we just wouldn't have gas cars anymore.
Right.
I mean, I know it's not going to happen that fast, but it's happening slowly. People are buying
Yeah.
Teslas and things, and yeah, it's going to be slow change. But what I really hope is that people learn from COVID, that we take some of these lessons and we just don't go back to normal. Everybody keeps talking about going back to normal, going back to
Right.
normal. Is that really what we should do?
What is normal, first of
What
all?
is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
what's normal? Because normal for me was having my baby at home in the bathtub.
Mhm.
I know that's not normal for everybody. I know. I know. Um, and maternal care, that's another huge issue we could open up. In the United States, we get 6 weeks of unpaid
Oh,
maternity leave. And in Scandinavia, people get a year, and it can be
some
any,
places 9 months, a year, or even close to 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And think about how that affects a child and a mother and a family
Mm,
to have that
yeah.
kind of support.
It helps,
So
especially, when a mother is nursing her babies.
I know I nursed mine, and I was working, and I was traveling, and I want to write a book called Pumping in the Girls' Room.
I did
Because
too. I nursed my twins for
oh,
2 years.
and wasn't that,
Oh,
oh my gosh, I can't
yeah,
imagine twins. Wasn't it so much work?
it is. It was. And I remember, going back to work, I cried. It was so painful leaving them.
I
Even though
know.
I was on maternity leave for a long time because I had postpartum depression.
Yeah.
So I went, I don't know, I want to say lucky because the postpartum depression wasn't fun, but yet I got to stay with them a little longer. And I went back to work, I think 7 months. It was so painful, so sad. I cried. I remember the first day. It
Yeah.
was so painful. First week, I cried every day leaving them. Yeah.
Yeah, it is so painful.
Yeah.
And so when you have pain like that, it seems really unnatural, right? Like, we
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing this. And
Hmm.
you think, you've gotten your boys to a big tall age, and my kids are big now, but I think about it because I know other women out there are still facing this.
Yeah.
And then to have had a baby in a pandemic without a job. I mean,
Oh,
some of the situations that people have had to face during
yeah.
this.
And risking not getting the help.
Um,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
How blessed are we that this virus does not affect children?
yes,
I mean, what a huge relief. Could you imagine where we would be as
Oh,
a population?
I know.
I mean,
I, it's unthinkable. Yeah, yeah.
so I want to tell you a couple of things I do every day to keep me healthy.
Okay, we'd like to hear that. All those.
Okay. So, and I might tell you some products I use, but I'm not really selling them. So maybe I'll leave the names off, but if people want to ask, I'd be happy to tell. I don't know what you want me to do, but
Are these for skin? I'm
yeah,
so I'm
skin
so
and
particular
supplements.
about
Yeah.
lotion that I put on my skin because whatever we put on our skin, it sucks up. You put chemicals on your skin, it's gonna suck it up, and that's not healthy. So I am very particular about body lotion. You have no idea.
Yeah, no, I do. You and I are on the same page on that. I mean, when I first met you, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much we're alike. It's so great. Yes, about body care. So I start my day with a big glass of water with a lemon squeezed in it.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. Lemon water, right? I mean, you can't buy it. You buy a lemon, you get some water. That's all you need. And
Right.
there's no lemon water lobby. No one is going to tell you to do this. But really, I find it the best way to start in the morning with my stomach. It just makes my body feel good. You get your water right
Yes.
away. Breakfast, that word really does mean to break the fast of the night. So, okay. So the next thing I do is brush my teeth. And I don't think people know how important brushing your teeth is, but I know they do. But I brush my teeth with salt. So your teeth love it. They love salt. It is really cleansing. It has a little micro abrasion
Mm.
to it. And it's like saline, the water and the salt. It's minerals. It
Mhm.
really keeps your teeth pretty clean. And
Clean
I think oral hygiene is so
is
important.
yes. I was just about to say that, and I'm gonna tell you what I do for that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's my ritual, and I've been doing it for I want to say close to 20 years. And actually, some people can't believe that I don't even when I travel, I do it. So that's a big thing for me. I do oil pulling. I'm sure you've
Oh, you
heard
do?
of oil pulling. Every
Great.
morning after my meditation, that's what I do. That's the next thing I do is my oil pulling.
That's awesome. Do you just use straight coconut oil?
I use coconut oil, and sometimes I use sesame oil.
Sesame, yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
sesame oil, and I rinse with salt water. Speaking of salt,
Yeah.
yeah, salt water, yeah.
Well, that's great. And you know what you and I both do on our ritual, right?
Hmm.
Is what majority of people do is regular toothpaste you buy in a tube, and all of them are sweet.
Yeah.
And the thing about the palate is that you train your palate.
Hmm.
So if someone on this listens to this and decides, I'm going to brush my teeth with salt, or I'm going to oil pull and rinse with salt water, it's going to taste really nasty for the first week or so, because those people are used to using a mint toothpaste that's very sugary.
Right.
But after a week or so, you taste that sugary toothpaste and it's so sugary, you do not like it.
Mm.
So, but that sets up your whole day. If you brush your teeth in the morning with a sugary flavor, you're going to tend to eat more sugary things throughout the day. If
Yeah.
you start with an oil or a salt, you're kind of lining yourself up for a more savory day, for less addictive sugar, because
So true.
white sugar is an addictive substance.
Hmm.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
it's clearly people say it's actually more addictive than heroin. I don't know about that,
I've
but it
heard
is,
that too.
but it is America's little white powder. The
Hmm.
majority of people eat sugar all day long, and it is one of the most detrimental things for one's health. You know what? I'm going to add to my gift for this,
Hmm.
because I'm for this platform. I'm giving a gift of organic and natural
Oh,
body
let's hear
care.
about it.
I'm going to add to my organic and natural body care and supplement basket. I'm going to
Hmm.
add a book called
Wow.
Sugar Blues.
Woo!
And this
I love
book,
it.
yeah, I don't know if you've ever read it, but check it out. You can get it really cheap because it's been printed over and over again. It's a soft cover book, but it was written in the, gosh, I don't even know when it was written, but a long time ago. And it talks about how toxic sugar is to our minds and our health. It's called Sugar Blues. And so that's
I've
kind
heard
of
of
one,
it.
yeah, that's kind of one of the
Yeah.
other things that I do. And I set myself up in the day like that with lemon and salt. So sour and salty, because your palate is sweet, salt, bitter, umami, which is savory,
Right.
and sweet. Sweet.
Right.
I missed one. Okay, but
Oh, when I was interviewing Melanie, we touched on the palate because we were talking about bitters.
yes.
Yes, that's another one.
Bitters.
Yes.
They're so important. So I have some bitters every day too. At some point, what I do is I take a glass, throw some ice in there. Some people don't drink cold things, but I find that bitters taste better cold.
With a
So I
little, yeah.
throw some ice in there, do a little bubbly water, plain bubbly water, which you can do yourself if you have a little soda stream, or you can just buy plain seltzer, which is cheaper than all of the things. So I don't drink any sugary drinks. And then I just put a couple drops of bitters in there. So you get your salt, you've got your sour, you've got your bitter. And then for diet, I think people get really overwhelmed with how many diets there are
I
out
know.
there. And if you look up in the dictionary, there's various different terms for diet. And diet, can mean like actually trying to steer yourself to not eat things you would normally eat.
Right.
But diet also can mean like what an animal eats. Like an elephant's diet is grass, right? Like, or a panda's diet is bamboo. So I think of diet as just like, what should I eat as a human? Like, what do humans eat? And so I eat, and some people don't, and that's fine too, but I eat really clean meat. So I, like clean, meaning organic whenever possible. And that's super important with meat.
Grass-fed.
Yeah. Really clean organic meats. I eat vegetables, lots of them.
Lots of vegetables.
And some days I can go through the day without eating meat. I find that my diet is better with a little meat, but I know a lot of people that eat just vegetables, and it's great. And it's
good even if you eat meat, but it's good to give it a break, once or twice a week.
Yeah, for sure. And I eat some fruits. I know there's a lot of people that are on like a paleo diet or whatever, or a keto diet that think fruit is whatever. But I'm like, really? Because I think if I walked by an apple tree, I would pick it. I would pick it and I would eat.
We want a bite out of that apple. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
We need fruits. I love
guilty,
fruits.
Right? We're guilty. Eve, we're guilty. We're all guilty.
Especially all those wonderful tropical fruits.
Yes. And berries, dark pigmented berries.
Yeah.
People forget, and they eat a lot of one color of food, but the colors in food are so important.
Oh, yes.
So, do you know that the color in food is what actually protects that food from the sun?
Yes.
So that's your antioxidants. So blueberries and raspberries and any kind of berry. Berries are so healthy for you. And if you brush your teeth with salt and drink lemon water, berries are actually really, really sweet. For people that eat cake and cookies and all that stuff, berries don't taste so sweet. They kind of taste a little bitter, but that's why working your palate is so important.
Exactly. And, and with food and color, depending on the colors, each have their health benefits depending on the colors. Yeah.
That's true. The different colors work on different parts of the body.
Right.
So they call them deep pigments, and it's really important. Color is very, very important in food. So even when you think of your vegetables, some people like carrots, like you were talking about, that orange part, that beta carotene, that's really good for your eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's touch a bit on supplements.
Okay.
So,
all right, I will.
I know you're very knowledgeable about that, so let's do it.
So I think supplements are very important for a lot of reasons. There are some people that think, oh, I eat such a clean, healthy diet, I don't need any supplements. And then there are the other people that are eating like a really poor diet and really, really, really need supplements.
Right.
So there's a couple of things, even people that are like on a keto diet, most people really conceive macro, like we can believe in really big things like fats and proteins and blah, blah. And that's what you hear people talk about most. But when it comes down to it, our body's really micro. Our body, everything happens on a cellular level, which is really small. And vitamins and minerals and those pigments we were talking about in food,
Right. Mm-hmm.
that's really the verve of life. Like that's really the stuff that gets it rolling and going. Like even sugar and salt, those are macro things. We've been talking macro,
Mm-hmm.
but it's these little vitamins that make a big deal. Actually, the word vitamin comes from the vital amino,
Mm-hmm.
vital. It's like so vital for what we do. Now there's so many that are important. They're actually sorry, that's my phone. They're actually all important. There's not one vitamin or mineral that is less important than others. So if somebody wants to start somewhere, a really good multivitamin is a good
Mm-hmm.
place to start. And all I can say about what's the difference between a good multivitamin and a bad multivitamin, you definitely don't want any artificial colors or sugar in your vitamins.
Right.
So there's vitamins out there that have artificial sugar and color. And I'm telling you, one, you already get enough sugar. And
Right.
two, there is no recommended daily allowance of artificial colors. Like, in fact, you should get those things out of your diet as fast as possible. So, like, that's like kind of the first step, just finding one that is just vitamins and minerals. And the second one would be to find one that has some food in it or is made from foods, because really our body recognizes food. So there are vitamins out there that have greens and fruits and part of it, and it's going to help your body absorb those things. So that would be like a great first step, is just take a multivitamin, because it's just a great little addition to your day. They're not really that expensive, and
Right.
it's one time a day and you don't have to think about many things. For people that have specific illnesses or ailments or things that they're trying to work on, it's really great to work with somebody that knows all those little nuances of vitamins and minerals that you need, like you need more this and that. But I'm going to talk about some of the like most important ones. So, and it's trending, it's vitamin D would
Mm-hmm.
probably be the first one to talk about.
Right.
Vitamin D is one that we can create on our own, kind of like photosynthesis, right? We go
Mm-hmm.
out in the sun, we make it
Yeah. Get some
ourselves.
sun.
Yeah. But some of us don't get enough sun, and some of us don't produce enough vitamin D. And there was a study that showed that the majority of people who did pass of COVID had a low vitamin D. So vitamin D is really in the spotlight right now. It's really important for so many things in the body, your bones,
Including cancer.
your
Yeah.
bones, your immune system is really
System. Yeah.
that umbrella that takes care of so many different things. So vitamin D is one that you actually can get checked in your annual physical from your doctor. You can add on to have your vitamin D checked and just see where you're at, and then you can
Right.
add it to your diet. And you can take their little, it's an oil soluble vitamin. So
Mm-hmm.
some vitamins are water soluble and some are oil
Mm-hmm.
soluble. So vitamin E, vitamin D, those are all in oil. So it'd be a little oil
Right.
capsule. That's really important. And then vitamin C. Vitamin C is
Vitamin
super
C.
important,
Yeah.
super important, and it's also great for the immune system and can help you fight off colds and all kinds of good things. And vitamin C, you can take a little bit of extra a day. Your B
Vitamin A as well. That's
Vitamin A,
A.
so
Yes.
important for eye health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the B vitamins, the whole family of B vitamins is really important for mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been studies that show that walking, exercise, and B vitamins are just as good for you as psychiatric medications. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of studies out there that show that taking like a mile walk a day and your B vitamins are going to really help you. So I'm not telling anybody to go cold turkey on any medicine. I'm just saying that there's a lot of really great research out there.
Right.
And you can definitely look at B vitamins. And if you don't eat meat, there are B12 is really
B12.
important for
That's me. I take my B12 because I don't
oh,
eat meat.
good, good, good.
And
There's also
magnesium is another one.
magnesium,
Magnesium, so
so
important.
important. Yes, for
Yes.
muscle, like if you get leg cramps,
Mm-hmm.
magnesium. If you can't sleep at night, you can take a little magnesium before you go to bed.
Yeah.
It's so important. Yeah, minerals. That's what we're really talking about, that micro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your trace minerals. And you can actually get a little liquid that's trace minerals, and it has all those trace minerals in it.
Right.
Certainly then, some of the other ones that are, buzzwords as zinc. So
Zinc.
zinc is really important if you have a cold, and it's really great for your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Zinc is really good topically as well. So what is important with zinc, if you're using it for your immune system or cold, is a lozenge,
Mm-hmm.
because zinc kills bacteria on contact. They don't like it, and so you pop it in your mouth.
Oh, right.
Zinc, yep, and then those zinc lozenges, if you have a really bad sore throat,
Mm-hmm.
will really be very helpful.
Right.
Um, what else? What other great vitamins are out there? Well, there isn't a vitamin lobby, as we were talking about before, but there are a lot of people that have done a lot of research on vitamins, and there's some great books out there about vitamins. But I think a good place to start is a really great multi, and then adding in that vitamin D on your annual checkup, talking to your doctor. A lot of doctors are very,
Right. Check the level. Yeah.
yeah, really
Yeah.
clued in now about how important vitamin D is.
All right.
And
I have another
yeah,
question for you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, sure.
Okay. Um, what is really getting in the way of us to, as far as health is concerned and the state of good health? What do you think is a major, besides our eating habits?
Besides eating and besides sleeping well,
Right, sleeping well,
I mean,
yeah.
so eating, sleeping, and exercise are really
Exercise.
those first two. And exercise doesn't have to be really crazy, but just taking a walk, moving your body,
20
stretching.
minutes a day, that's what I say, at least.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't
Yeah.
have to overdo it.
And you know what that means, Yuli? That's like putting on a watch, walking 15 minutes
Yes,
a day, and then
right.
just turning around.
So easy, right?
But I also think that turning off the television,
Hmm.
not like creative movies and culture and art and that kind of thing, but like news and sadness and those things. I think, that is important. And I think human contact is important. I think
Yes.
having good people around you is very important.
Oh, you hit it right there. The quality of people you
Yeah.
surround yourself with, so, so important. I totally believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can, some people can just change their environment of where they're
Mhm.
living, and that changes their whole life.
Yes.
So I think that's super important. But I also do think, like we were talking about earlier, having a job that you love is important. And I know
Hmm.
that it's really hard, that there's a
Mental
lot,
health. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's,
good for mental health.
yeah, because if,
Yeah.
your job, right? Okay, so you think about your life, we have 24 hours in a day, and we should divide it into 8 parts. So 8 hours, or sorry, 3 parts, 3 8-hour parts.
Hmm.
So 8 hours should be for sleep. 8 hours should be for working,
Right.
like 9 to 5. That's like your 8-hour day. And you have to remember you have 8 other hours that should be for you
Right.
every day. So 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for play. That's how it should be. And that means that your job is 1/3 of your whole life. That means you're going to sleep away 1/3 of your life too, but you're going to work away 1/3 of your life. So you should love it, and even if you've got to like start over, or even if you have to make less, if you're happier, that means more. That's what I want to say about the day. And then those 8 hours that are for you should not be 8 hours of listening to the news and being scared and terrified about what's happening.
Yes.
It should be art and culture and family and good food and music.
Music.
God,
Yes.
music and
Fun, dance,
fun,
dancing, right?
dancing, right? Like you were saying, 30 minutes. Can you put on music for 30 minutes and just dance? You don't have to have any special clothes on or any kind of
No.
equipment
Just
or
out in your
anything.
backyard, barefoot, you know,
Yeah.
grounding, earthing.
Oh, I think we need to love each other more too. It's just,
Yeah.
whew, you gotta take a deep breath once in a while. I know there are
Yeah.
people that their whole thing is breathing, like it's how you breathe.
Breathing, yes.
And we
Yeah.
forget, you do
I did
forget.
a post last night on that,
You
on
did?
breath. I think, yeah. Oh, is it this morning? Anyway, yeah.
I gotta get your updates. I gotta go
Yeah, I
see.
took a peek at you, your Facebook page this morning.
I know it, but I have to tag
I
you.
had to go deeper and because you have some really good stuff in there.
I have to tag you on my Haiti pictures. So
I love that.
should I tell you about Haiti really quick?
Yes.
Okay, so I went to Haiti with the Haitian American Doctors Association and the Bedford Stuyvesant EMTs from like Brooklyn, New York.
Hmm.
So it was quite the gang of people. I didn't know anybody, and we are lifelong friends. And we were only there for a week. I'm sad to say I wanted to be there for longer, but it really wasn't so safe. And I was a little concerned for safety.
Hmm.
Um, Haiti, man, Haiti's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Isn't it a beautiful island? You know, Haiti is called the Pearl of the Islands, La Perle des Antilles, in
I know why.
French. Yeah,
I
the
know
Pearl
why.
of the Islands, of all the islands. It's a pearl.
It is
And
a pearl,
yeah,
and it is that perfect example of where governments go wrong,
I
like,
know.
and where where the United States government has gone wrong, where the Haitian government has gone wrong.
Mhm.
It's that the people have to start voting with their dollars there,
Yes.
and feel more empowered about just being,
Ooh,
because there's a man, I mean, the people are so beautiful. I mean, so beautiful. Like some of the most beautiful people on the planet are Haitian people, right? Like this is
thank you.
like such a beautiful place, and yet there is so much poverty
I
and
know.
there is so much pain. Now, I want to say that I have a skewed view because I landed the day after the earthquake. So
Mhm.
in 2010, that
Right.
terrible earthquake, I was there for the second earthquake.
Mhm.
We delivered many babies in the street or in the basement of the Port-au-Prince General Hospital. We had very little supplies and we had very little support. And there were a lot of traumatic things happening.
I'm
Um,
sure.
there were a lot of loss of limb and loss of life, and
Very
there were
sad.
and there were moms coming to deliver babies not knowing where their other babies were or where their husbands were. But I had this really amazing experience, and I very rarely tell people, but I do want to tell you. So
Okay.
after the second earthquake,
Mhm.
we had been in the basement of the Port-au-Prince General Hospital when it started shaking. And so there was a chaos of people trying to get out of the building, because the first thing is that the building's going to come down, right? Like that's
Right.
here. And I had been sitting with a laboring woman, and in the chaos, I lost her. I don't know where she went. I ran outside. We were trying to grab people because some people couldn't walk. There were children, so we were trying to get everything outside. We were trying to get the supplies. And so the whole hospital moved out into the streets, out of the building, because there was, you talk about PTSD, right? There were there was so much trauma 3 days before of buildings falling
Mm-hmm.
and of people experiencing that earthquake that the fear was so intense. So we moved everyone outside. So we had the hospital beds and everyone outside. And there was this poor man who passed away right in front of my eyes. And it really affected all of us. And he was so handsome and so young, and he had no shirt on, and he was just like the like beautiful, like just, and he passed, and it was awful, and we were trying to deal with that, and then someone screamed my name, and the pregnant woman was coming towards me, and they had found her, and they were trying to find me, and she gave birth right there on the street, right next to this man that passed away. And everybody was so somber, and there was so much fear that, I'm serious, I when the baby was born, I lifted the baby up in the air. It was a total Lion King moment. This Haitian woman said, "There is life. There is life. There is life for Haiti." And everybody started chanting,
Yeah.
"Ah!" And this baby became, for that moment, for really a moment, the hope that we all could have in this world. And I really hope that baby's still alive. And I really hope that these people are thriving, and that I know that a lot of aid and intention went to Haiti at the time. I know there was so much they had to rebuild. But when
I would.
I
Go
would love to
ahead.
go back someday and see how things are. And, I just really hope, I have a lot of hope for Haiti.
Yeah, me too. I would love for you to one day, for the two of you to meet the mother, that baby.
Yeah.
That
I
oh,
don't
that
know
would
that.
be so beautiful.
I have pictures of that baby, but I don't know that baby's name. I was telling you before that there is one of the babies that I was so blessed to be at their birth that week. One of them, I know her name, and every year on the anniversary in January, I look her name up, and someday I hope to find her and make sure she has all the food she needs, all the clothes she needs, and she knows that she has an aunt. I'm going to be her aunt in the United
Oh,
States.
so beautiful. The universe is listening. I always say that. So I truly believe the universe is always listening.
I hope so.
So put it out there, Karen,
I do. I
and
do.
I'll help you.
Oh, good. Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Yoli,
So
I want
one,
to know more about someday we have to also talk about what part of Haiti you're from and your story of coming to the States, and if you ever get back there and where your family is. I want to know more.
sure, we will. I have one more question for you, Karen.
Okay.
Okay, what advice would you offer to our listeners today?
Oh,
I know there's so many, but
I
one that's
know.
really from the heart that you could share with our listeners.
I think the biggest thing is just don't let other people affect you. You know what your passion is, and you do that.
Hmm.
You do that, and um everything else will fall into place. Don't
Yeah,
don't worry.
right.
Don't worry. It's gonna be all right. I mean, this is a hard time, and we're all worrying a lot.
Hmm.
And I say I think the advice I give to other people would be the advice I try to give to myself or to my children. When you have children, you realize, they worry about things that they don't need to worry about, and you can really
Right.
see it. And I would say, what I say to my son, I say, it would be easier what you're doing if you
Hmm.
weren't worried and frustrated. If you weren't worried and
But
frustrated,
right,
what
that's
you
a
are,
great advice.
it wouldn't be so bad right now. And I know
Right.
it's hard. I have to take that advice too. Um, but I think all those little things, and then try one thing at a time. Like, I
Hmm.
know I have my routine with the water and the toothpaste and the food. Don't expect that you're going to change everything overnight.
Yeah.
It's not how it happens. One thing at a
One
time,
thing at a time. Yeah.
one routine. If you can get yourself to sleep better, take a month or 2 months to figure out your sleep and then figure out your exercise.
Right.
You know, when people fail sometimes because, well, no one really fails, right? You just keep trying. But
Right.
people stop moving forward when they get overwhelmed or they feel like they failed because they tried to do too much at once.
Mhm.
Just take it slow,
Yeah.
one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. Yeah.
If you got a 0.5% better every day, you'd be 100% better in 200 days. That's
Yes.
it.
There you go. Wow. So much great stuff here you just shared with us. And
Well,
I love it. It's been a pleasure talking to you and sharing these stories with our listeners. And thank you so much, Karen, for devoting your time to do this. I really appreciate this.
well, I am so grateful for Melanie to introduce us, and
Yes. Thank
I
you,
am
Melanie.
I am so grateful for you as a new friend in my life, and I just find that we have so much in common. So I love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. And we'll be talking soon.
Okay, I'm going to tag you in those pictures right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm waiting for them. I'm excited. Looking forward to see them.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
talk soon.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.